Hi, so on the new version of the digital SAT, the reading section has a couple of poetry questions. So in this video, we are going to practice those. The first one is a text from Sonnet 60 by William Shakespeare. Like as the waves make towards the pebbled shore, so do our minutes hasten to their end. Each changing place with that which goes before, in sequent toil all forwards do contend. And then we have two questions related to this. So what are we saying here in this sonnet? So we are talking about waves that move towards the pebbled shore. So there is a sense of waves striking the shore, and there's a sense of constant motion there, right? So just as the waves strike the shore, our minutes also hasten to their end. Hasten is to rush towards something, right? So here the end refers to the end of our lives. And just as the waves rush towards the shore, our minutes, the time that we are given on this earth, also rushes to the end. So there is a sense of time moving forward, and that forward movement is compared with the motion of the waves. Each changing place with that which goes before. So just as every wave that hits the shore, it replaces the wave that came before it, and it in turn is replaced by the wave that comes after it. Just in that way, time also moves forward. The seconds replace the older seconds, days replace the older days, and so on. Each changing place with that which goes before, in sequent toil all forwards to content. Sequent comes from sequential. Sequential is one after the other. Toil is work, hard work. So there is a forward movement. There's a forward hard work, forward-looking hard work, which is to say that time moves forward inexorably, non-stop, towards our end, just as waves hit the shore. So this is what this text implies. Now, the first question, the action of the waves, is best described as an inexorable procession, a remorseless competition, a reassuring monotony, a mysterious transformation. So here the right answer is option A. What is inexorable? Inexorable is something that goes on without stopping, that goes on without break, right? And that is exactly the sense that the text gives us, that the forward movement of time is inexorable, right? Each second, each minute, each hour replaces the one that went before, and that is sort of drawn, and a sort of similarity is drawn between that and the motion of the waves. So it's an inexorable procession. It's a procession, it's a movement that continues nonstop. So that's a good answer. A remorseless competition. First of all, the word competition doesn't fit the context because the author is not saying that the waves are competing with one another. That's not the sense that you get from the text. And what is remorseless? Without remorse, without guilt, without feeling bad for something that has happened. So again, there is no sense of guilt or remorse in the text. So B is not the right answer. A reassuring monotony. Again, the movement of the waves is not described as monotonous. It is not described as something which is lacking excitement, right? And it is certainly not reassuring. In fact, there is a somber, serious tone to the text, right? Because there is a sense that time moving forward is hastening or moving forward to our end, to our demise, right? So the sense of reassuring is not there, right? So it's not C. And there is nothing mysterious or transformative about the waves, right? The waves are simply coming to the shore in a way, non-stop, again and again, which reflects the passage of time. So there's nothing mysterious there, and there's no transformation being talked about. So the right answer is option A. Question 2, the subject of these lines is best described as option A, the predictability of the tides, the power of natural forces, the necessity of toil, and the minutes of our lives elapsing. So here, the right answer is option D. The main point of the text is the forward movement of time, the non-stop, without break movement of time. So as we live, the minutes of our life are spent, right? So that is the main context. And the comparison with waves is done to bring out that sense of forward movement of time, right? So that is what we are talking about here. It's not about the predictability of the tides, right? That's a very literal interpretation of the text, right? We are talking about waves, but it's not about the waves themselves. The passage is about time, and the waves are used as a metaphor here, right? So it's not about the tides being predictable or the power of natural forces, right? Because natural forces in this context can only be understood as waves or the fact that they strike the shore, right? But what we are talking about is time. So B doesn't capture that. And toil. Toil is hard work, but the author is not saying that it's necessary to work hard. Rather, the author is saying that time itself works hard in that it moves forward without stopping. So the necessity of toil is not something that is expected of the reader, but it is something that is given, something that is already true for time. So it's not the right answer. It's an option that is meant to mislead you because the word toil is also present in the text. But the answer is option D. Let's do another question. To an Inconstant One is a poem by Robert Eaton. In the poem, the speaker addresses a lover who has developed feelings for another romantic interest. The speaker explains that continuing the relationship would be a sign of passivity on his part, writing. And then the question is, which quotation from To an Inconstant One would most effectively illustrate this claim? So we are given 4 options, and all the 4 options have lines from the poem. And we have to choose the option which brings out this explanation that the speaker is giving, where the speaker says that if he were to continue the relationship, given that his love interest has developed feelings for someone else, in that situation, if the speaker were to continue the relationship, it would be a sign of passivity on his part. Passivity is that he would be doing it simply because he did not feel that he should take an action or he should do something. So he would, if he were to continue, he would just continue because he did not see any reason to discontinue, right? So which option, which lines from the poem capture that? So let's read option A. I loved thee once, I'll love no more. Thine be the grief as is the blame. Thou art not what thou wast before. What reason I should be the same? So this is saying that the speaker is addressing his love interest, that I loved you once, but I will not love you anymore. And the reason for that is that you have decided to fall for someone else. The grief, the sadness that comes because of the end of this relationship, as well as the blame for the end of this relationship, is yours. It's not mine. You are not what you were before. Thou art not what thou was before. You have changed. It is you who has found someone else. Then why should I stay the same? What reason I should be the same, right? So if you have changed, I should change too. Okay, so that's option A. Option B, nothing could have my love overthrown if thou had still continued mine. Yeah, if thou had remained thy own, I might perchance have yet been thine. So here the author or the speaker is addressing his love interest and saying that my love was constant. My love was not overthrown. My love did not change, right? If you had still been mine, if you had not changed, if you had not found another lover, then I would continue to be with you, right? I might perchance have yet been thine, right? There was no reason for me to seek someone else. I would have continued to be with you, right? So that's option B. Option C, when new desires had conquered thee and changed the object of thy will, it had been lethargy in me, not constancy, to love thee still. Now, he's sort of giving an explanation for why he wants to end the relationship. He's saying that you have been conquered by new desires. You have found someone else, and the object of your affection has changed. You have changed the object of thy will. In that situation, in that scenario, it would have been lethargic. It would have been, so lethargy actually means a sense of tiredness, a sense of, inactivity. So in certain ways, it is similar to what the question is asking in terms of being passive, right? So it would have been lethargic of me, not constancy, to love thee still. So if you have gone ahead and found someone else, then for me to still love you would not be something desirable. It would be a sign of lethargy. It would be a sign of passivity, right? So that's what option C says. Option D, yet do thou glory in thy choice of his good fortune boast. I'll neither grieve nor yet rejoice to see him gain what I have lost. So these lines, the speaker is kind of moving on from the blame and the explanation and kind of making peace with what has happened and saying that you be happy with what you have chosen. Do thou glory in thy choice. Stick to your choice, be happy. It is his good fortune that he has found you. So there is that sense of making peace with what has happened. I will neither grieve nor yet rejoice, right? So I am not going to be sad or happy with what has happened to see him gain what I have lost. So this new person has gained what I have lost, but that does not make me happy or sad. So I'm somewhat neutral, right? So that's what the four options say. The first option kind of gives us the idea of the author sort of blaming the love interest and saying that you have changed, so why should I stay the same? The second option talks about the fact that his love was constant and he was forced to deal with this because his love interest has changed. The third option, which is the right answer, as you can see, talks about the fact that if he were to continue the relationship, it would not do, because that would not be out of affection. That would simply be passivity on his part, lethargy. And then in option D, we get a sense of comfort, if not comfort, a sense of acceptance with what has happened. So the right answer for this question is option C.